Hey everybody, Josh here with May Handmade. Today I received my XTOOL Air Assist for D1. Went ahead and ordered this because I haven't had the need for it at all with anything I normally do. Tumblers, wood, metal business cards, glass, all that kind of stuff. I have not need Air Assist. So I told myself if I ever needed it, I'll get it, but I need to prove to myself that I need it. So I had one of these Stanleys. It's a soft touch Stanley. You can see that it did not burn all the way through, and I did multiple tests on this cup after the fact to try and get it to burn good. Which these burns here with all the squares, I used a air compressor with an air nozzle, and I was using that as my air assist to test, which you can see this test here did a really good job, and that was with air. Without air, the silicone type material was just building up on top of the cup instead of burning away like the powder coat does. It was producing zero smoke, but it was kind of blistering the material. So that told me that it needed air to blow all that material away to make it work. So that prompted me to get Air Assist. And so here is my Air Assist. I'm going to go ahead and unbox it and install it. Okay, so getting into the unboxing, here's my Air Assist box from XTOOL. Got a user guide box here on top. Got air fittings in it, air hose, Allen wrenches. That's it for that box. Got our new shield with a hole in it. Got the nozzle that goes on to the laser. Pretty nicely packaged unit here. Got the Air Assist pump. This is just an air compressor. It's on pretty good little isolators there to keep it from vibrating your table and setup. 110 plug. Okay, you can see there, that's what we get with the Air Assist. We've got the shield, we've got the pump plug with a variable switch on it. We've got the nozzle, we've got all of our air fittings for the nozzle and then the compressor itself. We've got the bracket that goes on top of the laser module that holds the air hose. Comes with Allen wrenches for top of the module and your shield screws, air lines. So this is a air filter, goes in the bottom of the air compressor. Something you want to keep an eye on. Just pry the side there. This whole thing just opens, and then you can remove the air filter. They give you 2 additional air filters, so that's kind of nice. Lets you do some maintenance here and there, keep everything functional and clean. Okay, so this shield only goes on one way. There's a tall side and a short side. Here's snap, it's good. Okay, pretty simple kit. Let's go out and install this on the D1. Got all the parts here. we're going to go ahead and dive into the D1 here. I've got everything powered off, and I'm going to show you the install of it and explain the steps. Pretty simple install, but I'll run through it with you. I noticed that the kit does not come with any ties or anything, so these ties here on top of your rail, you're going to end up cutting those, so you're going to have some replacement zip ties. There's only 3 zip ties here, so not too big of a deal. I'm going to try and run it through the same protective coating here, the wiring. I may run it on the outside. I'm going to see what will fit. Okay, so first off, we're going to take our laser module, loosen the thumb screw. I've been running without the shield for some time now because I've been doing a lot of tumblers that require me to have more clearance around, and I've always worn my eye protection, so I'm not that worried about the shield. It just saves me from taking it on and off all the time. So I will go through how to install this new shield and line it up. I don't use the shield as much, so I likely will set it up without the shield with Air Assist. So here's our nozzle. Get the nozzle. I've got these supplied screws and Allen wrench. These screws actually go into the nozzle. I've got 2 screws, and these 2 screws both go into the nozzle. So we're going to go ahead and start these, but don't let them protrude through the bottom. So you see that there is a flat spot on this deal for locating. So that's going to go not too far in. So that flat spot is going to go towards the front of the module. You see how there's just a flat spot here, and that's where you align it. So align that flat spot with the front. You can see the flat. See this flat spot? Aligns with the front of the module. We're going to go ahead and snug these down. Not super tight yet. Going to snug them. I already don't like this right here. This screw is going to block my crosshairs. So I am not going to put that screw in. I'm going to leave that one out. It's a real snug fit around that lens. So I think it's going to be fine. It's not going to have, so this theoretically would have a tightening in each direction, but it's concentric on that laser head, and it's tight on the circle already. So I'm not too worried about that. And it's not just going to jump off of there. Should be fine. So that's snug on there. I'm going to go ahead and install this with the hole down. That shield fits a lot more snug than the original one. It's a lot thicker plastic. The original shield is not that thick. Get that pushed down in there. Fits pretty snug. Okay, next we're going to get this bag. Got all of our air fittings in it. You see why this flat spot is in the front? It's because it's up against that protective shield. It's completely up against it. So that's a good locating feature. Okay, we're going to dump these out. Okay, this fitting here goes through the shield into the nozzle. It just slips through and then threads in. So if you clock that flat in the front, see, I had no issues with threading that in. It's not exactly concentric with this circle. Looks like they drilled it or cut it a little bit too far to the back according to the center of this laser head. But it still works. It's fine. So we'll make this so where it points upward. And that's the install here. I'm going to go ahead and sit this back in here so it can hold it up. And I'm going to get a screwdriver, a Phillips head, and I'm going to take these two screws out. Okay, so I've just got a Phillips. It's a number 1 Phillips. So a number 1 fits these screws. Okay, we're going to take this plate. You have these screws out. You're using the same screws, not switching screws. Just put those right back in there. Now don't go super tight on these. They just need to be snug because this is threading into aluminum with a steel screw. And if you over tighten it, you are going to pull the threads and then you'll never get it to tighten again. So for that, we've got the tubing. I haven't cut any zip ties yet on my rail here because I'm not sure how I'm going to run this tube, on how long it's going to be and where it will reach. So for now, I'm just going to run the tubing so that it can see what I'm working with. So we'll take the tubing, unravel it where it's ready to be used. Bring this down through that hole on your guide. You just push it in. It's a lock fitting. So to unlock this, you just pull down on this. There's a little sleeve right here that you'll pull down on to pull it back out. So once you get it in, just push it into the fitting, and it's a lock fitting so that it will not slide out. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run it along this right now just to see where it's going to end up, how long it will be. It looks like it will fit inside of this loom, but I don't want it going all the way over to my board there. I want to put the air compressor somewhere else. I don't want it to be over there, but it may end up being right next to my module here just because of the length of this hose. Okay, I am going to go ahead and cut these so I can put that in. I'm just going ahead and unplugging my module here. I have not done since I got the thing. Hopefully it doesn't cause any problems. And I'm going to start running this. It does fit. Snug fit, but it does fit. But I'm looking at this and I think that I need to bring it in a bit higher. I'm going to take this, slice a hole. Make sure that you do not get your wires. I'm going to bring it in a little higher. So I'm about 2 inches from where the wires come out. And that's where I'm going to run this in. Okay, see that? And then that will plug back in and it will come in above. So I'm just going to straighten this a bit. Run this through. Okay, this is proving to be pretty difficult to get through there. So I'm not going to run it through there. I'm going to go ahead and put this back. And I'll just zip tie it on the top of it. So I've just got some zip ties. Now I've already got these cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these zip ties in here, get them ready to use. Because I'll zip tie both at the same time right there. And I'll start on this side. When you're doing the zip ties on this rail, just don't do them too tight yet until you get all 3 of them situated before you tighten them. Okay, so I'm going to start on this side, tighten this zip tie first, and then tighten this one. And I like my stuff being kind of hidden, so I'm going to move the fastening part of the zip tie to the bottom. And then trim my excess. Okay. So there's that. We've got full motion all the way back and forth. See, I can hit limit and limit, so the hose and the wiring reaches. I'm going to go ahead and snug these, trim these off. Okay, there's the part on the module. Most of my work is always done right here, so I'm not too concerned about all the way to the limits. Now I need to decide what to do with this. So I've got travel across. And I want my pump, I think I want my pump down on the bottom shelf here. If I just leave it up above like this, I think that as far as I need to reach is over there, and that will actually be fine. So I am going to mount this, or not mount the pump because it just sits, but I'm going to set the pump down on my bottom shelf there. So having the pump, to connect it, you just take this hose here, it doesn't fit very well. This hose goes on here, and this slides in, but you see this is loose. What I'm going to do there, take a zip tie, put it around this, zip tie that pretty tight. So get your pliers or cutters and just kind of tighten that zip tie pretty good. And see, that's a good tight fit there. I'm going to do second one here. So this is compressed air and it's going to be pushing, so you don't want to leak here. So make sure that this is nice and sealed. These zip ties, the volume of air that's coming out of this thing, the zip ties should be fine. It's not going to come off. It's not going to have any buildup of pressure in the lines because it's open at the other end. So you can see there I zip tied 2 times and it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. You can still disconnect it from the compressor and then plug it back in if you need. You do not need a zip tie on this side. It's pretty snug. If you do feel like putting it on, just put one over here. So that's completely up to you. Okay, so when I set up my table, I mounted a power strip. See, I'm just below my table. I've got a power strip right here that I went ahead and I ran power from the roof down to it so that I can walk all the way around the table and not trip over any cords and not have any problems with that. So I've got a power strip right here. I've got a nice little spot right here that I'm going to set my air assist. So this pump is just going to lay in here. It's going to be off my workspace. I'm going to sit it right there. Bring my hose down. Plug it in. I can take my cord, run it straight to my power strip. I'm going to mount the controls on the tabletop, probably with some sticky tape. And that way I can control it from above without even looking at it. So it'll be out of my way. I don't have to hear it. I'll get this run and I'll show you how it turned out. Okay guys, so I kind of made a mistake in the early part of the video there. showing the compressor hookup. I believe it's supposed to take this fitting on here, which this goes onto the hose. For me, that's going to be a stack up of fittings, and it's going to be sloppy. I like it like this better. So I'm going to leave it like this on my setup. But this actually goes on here, not the zip. You can take the zip ties off if that's what you did, listening to me for some dumb reason. And put this in. This hose slides into here. The same slip fitting as on the other side. So that's what that fitting's for. I like it like this. And you can see what I did here. Got this on my shelf. Stuff goes there, so stays here. I'll turn it on real quick. That's at full power. Barely notice it's on. Does not vibrate my table. I don't feel any vibrations, not even next to it. So that's really good. Turn that off. See, I ran this up through my common cord holder here. It's a bigger zip tie. And then it goes up. And then I've got a tie here, which is just a base, a zip tie base that you can tie onto for harnesses. I've got enough hose here to reach the front. It just contacted at the front of the module here. That's plenty of hose, and I tied it high so that when I bring it back, if I'm doing a project, this hose is always going to be clear of everything I'm working on. So it bends upward. So won't have any problems with it trying to knock stuff off my table. I've got the zip ties here, here, and here, which were original with the wiring. That holds it good on the gantry here. And then zip tied 2 times here, going through the support bracket, and then down to the nozzle. So on your setup, completely up to you whether you use this fitting or if you use the zip tie method. For me, I just didn't want the stack up of fittings, so I'm not going to use that. And I can see that when I turn it on from my switch. So this is my setup. I've got my computer on my table that controls the laser, and I sticky taped my stuff right to the top. So I've got it plugged in here. Cord comes up, and then I've got it sticky taped right to the top so that I can just turn it on. And it's on there, full blast. Can't even hear it right now. I'm not sure if you can hear that in the video, but it's got good airflow to the nozzle. I don't feel any leaks up above. That's good. Coming right out the bottom, just like it should. And that's the full install. Installing the controls, I used just 3M VHB tape, just a little square of it, enough to cover the bottom of that switch. My filters I'll put away for later, whenever those things possibly get dirty. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you out on installing your Air Assist. That's all I've got for today. I appreciate you watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Comment down below if you got any suggestions. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. And we'll see you in the next one.